If this is your first or second time here, hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your third time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated on when I post. Today's weapon is a fairly strange and oftentimes forgotten weapon from old world blues. It was originally supposed to be in the main game. It was technically a bit of cut content that was brought in later. I'm talking about the LAER, which stands for the Laser Assisted Electrical Rifle. A hybrid of science and desperation born from the twilight years of the old world and rediscovered amid the ruins of the Big Empty. Now, at first glance, the LAER looks like a prototype rifle that was never meant to leave the lab. The frame is a parts bin collection of random scraps from other weapons, random odds and ends from laser rifles and other energy-based weaponry, and the glass glow of vacuum tubes clinging to the spine of this gun. But don't let the cobbled design fool you. This rifle was far from primitive. It was an experimental energy weapon platform built around a simple yet terrifying idea. Channel electricity through a coherent beam and let that beam find its target. In the field, the LAER delivers roughly 65 points of raw damage, dependent, per shot, matching the power of a plasma rifle sometimes, but surpassing the output of a laser rifle. Fires a rapid 2.5 seconds per shot, consuming microfusion cells as ammunition, and converting the stored energy therein into searing arcs of blue-white currents of electricity. It's a fairly light weapon, which adds to the delicate nature of it, at just 4 pounds, or units of weight in-game, and requires only moderate strength to heft and use. But it is a delicate piece of prototype equipment. Adding to the prototype nature of this weapon, it's only found, really, in about 7 places in the Big Empty. It goes to show that it was never put into full production. Now, no weapon is perfect, and the LAER's flaws are as striking as the brilliance of this weapon. Its critical damage output is unusually low for an energy weapon. Each hit carries a multiplier of 1.5 times, delivering around 15 points of critical damage on impact, far less than that of a tri-beam laser rifle or a plasma caster, and its beam spread of 0.08 is wide enough to limit the usage range of the weapon. In essence, the LAER was built for short, intense bursts of firepower rather than precise engagements. Its true power is unleashed in close quarters combat, where all 3 of its split beams can converge and overload a single target. Yes, it can be outfitted with a beam splitter, much like your laser rifle. But, by the by, durability is the Achilles heel of this weapon. The LAER is extremely fragile, especially the vacuum tubes and power regulators in the weapon. They deteriorate with what seems like every shot. By the by, its lifespan barely stretches past 370 shots before it's completely broken and needs repair. It also shows that the weapon was never really meant to see widespread usage. What exactly is the LAER, and where did it come from? The name alone, Laser Assisted Electrical Rifle, reveals its purpose. Not purely a laser weapon, not purely an electrical device, but something in between. The prevailing theory is the LAER represents a transitional stage in energy weapon development, a missing link, so to speak, between early laser-based weaponries of the pre-war United States and the later plasma-based weaponries that came to dominate the war. Laser weapons use a coherent beam to burn through targets. Plasma weapons use superheated ionized gases, essentially contained lightning, to burn holes and gooify their enemies. The LAER seems to bridge those two by creating an electrical discharge guided by a laser channel. In simple terms, The laser component creates a conductive path through the air, then the rifle discharges an electrical arc along that path. The result is the weapon fires bolts of electricity at the speed of light, making it effectively instantaneous at short and medium ranges. The vacuum tubes visible along the body suggest a reliance on pre-microprocessor technology, where later energy weapons integrated complex circuit boards and solid-state regulators into their chassis and frames. The LAER remained built on analog control systems, massive, inefficient, but stable and easy to produce in their own ways. And this may place its design earlier than most pre-war analysis believes. While laser rifles were perfected for military use, the LAER might have been a civilian or prototype adaptation, a way to experiment with directed electrical discharge without requiring sensitive materials or processors that only the military could get their hands on. And if that is the case, then the LAER wasn't intended to be a battlefield rifle at all. It was an experiment in non-lethal weaponization, a ranged taser designed to subdue without killing. But somewhere between design and development, that purpose changed. The power output was increased, the containment field failed to stabilize at lower voltages. What was once meant to shock someone into submission became a weapon capable of burning straight through flesh, armor, and even metal plating. In the Big Mountain facility, known for its reckless experimentation, that transformation would have been considered progress. The LAER's rediscovery in the Big Empty tells us much about its fate. Every known instance of this weapon has been found within the borders of Big Mountain. In labs and tunnels and test fields, war research dorms, you name it, you can find this weapon there. The most common variant is just the standard LAER. It can be found in X8, X42, Robco, Warfare Facility, and even on the remains of a giant Robo-Scorpion later on in the DLC. These are not random placements. They tell us the story of just how widespread testing had become for this weapon in the Big Empty before the end. The most powerful form of this weapon, though, is Elijah's advanced LAER, made by Father Elijah, formerly of the Brotherhood of Steel. He adapted this weapon for his own use. He recognized what the think tank once did, that this was not a finished weapon at all, but a foundation to build off of. His version of this rifle, when fully modified, could deliver 230 damage per second, nearly matching a plasma caster, and weighing half as much. Now, its scarcity was no accident. The think tank never moved the LAER into mass production, whether due to cost, safety, or simple obsolescence at this point. It was shelved, filed away in the archives of the Big Empty, until you come along, in-game. The LAER's combination of electrical power and analog design and modular construction also support another theory, that it was an attempt to retrofit civilian production lines to create energy-based weapons using available components of the time, especially when microprocessors and precision optics were scarce in the world of Fallout, while vacuum tubes were being made for all electronics of the time. The LAER could have been the old world's answer to wartime shortages, a design philosophy that said, if we can't make it with the new, then the old things will do. And the final theory about the LAER is fairly simple, that the LAER is the missing link between laser and plasma-based weaponry, made using older technologies that they had on hand to try to prove a point. The LAER was the beginning point of containing plasma, Shooting electricity is shooting pure plasma, figuring out the containment fields for it, how to make sure that containment field stays in place until it hits its mark. The LAER was the starting point of all of that. A precursor plasma weapon that was aided by the advancement of laser weaponry. Once they took the LAER project as far as they could, they started developing the actual plasma rifles we see in-game. To hold a LAER is to hold the physical embodiment of the old world's obsession with progress. An obsession so deep that even the end of civilization couldn't erase its fingerprints. Look closer at its design, and you'll see the story written in metal. The crude wiring that connects the emitter systems and coils. The faint blue glow of the tubes pulsing like a heartbeat. The heavy stock that feels like an afterthought. As if someone remembered, too late, that a weapon needs to be held and not just mounted. The LAER isn't elegant, it's desperate. It's the sound of an engineer saying, "We can make it work. One more time before the bombs fell." Its existence also challenges the neat timeline of energy weapon development that we often take for granted. We assume lasers came first, plasma came second, recharger technology was a civilian version of lasers, but the LAER, sitting awkwardly between them, suggests a more chaotic progression, a time when scientists were throwing everything at the wall to see what might stick. And in the chaos of all of this, they may have stumbled upon something profound. The LAER fires controlled electrical plasma along a coherent path. That, by definition, is a directed energy plasma system. In other words, like I said before, it's a plasma rifle, just wearing the wrong nameplate. If we accept that, then the LAER becomes the prototype that made plasma weaponry possible. The proof of concept that this energy could be contained, directed, and utilized on a portable scale. It's a weapon that proved the future, even as the world ended. The LAER is more than a gun. It's a message from the old world. A whisper of the scientists who stood at the edge of an impossible discovery. A reminder that sometimes progress isn't a straight line, but a loop, repeating itself endlessly across centuries. And in the hands of the courier, the LAER becomes a relic reborn, capable of cutting down mutants, robots, and men alike. But its real power lies not in the voltage or its damage output, but it lies in the story it tells about the people who made it. People who believed that if they built just one more weapon, one more invention, one more miracle, they could stop what was coming. But they were wrong. And that storm still echoes across the wasteland to this day. The end they couldn't stop. Next time you're out there in the wasteland, and you find an energy weapon humming with old forgotten light, remember, it may not just be a relic. It might be the last heartbeat of a world that refused to die quietly. Figured I'd try something new with this one, a fully scripted out episode. I usually just go off the cuff for these things here, but I was feeling like, since these are so quick to make nowadays, I should try branching out a little bit from what I'm used to doing. I don't really read scripts and stuff too much because I always felt it just took too long, especially with needing to go through and edit the audio to remove the pauses and stuff, and gaps in thought when I sit and think. It took quite a few takes on some of the stuff here. I feel a little stifled and whatnot, but that just comes because it's the first time I've done this. By the by, with the truncate option in Audacity and whatnot, the little extra amount of time here that I spent working on this compared to a normal one, about an extra hour, is still quicker than what I normally spend, well, what I used to spend making videos like this. So, it's still substantially quicker. even with a script and needing to do multiple takes for some of the lines and stuff here. By the by, it was fun. It was fun. I might do this again. Try to keep up this style here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'd like to thank Eric Hewitt and Big O for sticking around. Thanks, guys. It means a lot. If you'd like to become a member like them, link is down in the description to do so. I have a couple more videos coming out this month for members only. One of them is going to be the 9mm pistol in a video setup like this one. And the challenge run for this month is going to be how fast I can beat Honest Hearts. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to let you guys get back to whatever you were doing. Have a good day, and take care.